All right, so these are some proper shelving and storage techniques I'll be taking us through. First, we have shelving considerations for visibility and access. So, I mean, what kind of shelving systems are you using now? Are you using an open shelf system in addition to like a cupboard system that has a transparent glass? So the products can be easily accessed and they can be seen. So you don't have someone coming to buy something and your attendant is going all over the place because he doesn't, know where the products are stored because he can't see them. First, and I think the most important is, many products you will see them say, even apart from pharmaceuticals, they will say store in a cool, dry place. So everything you are doing, you're ensuring that your environment is cool and dry. Then also, we also have segregation and quarantine. That's the quarantine area. So if a product is received and is damaged, what do you do about it? Where do they store? Where do the attendants store the products? They store it in such a way that if someone else comes, another person resumes shifts, the person can just go and pick it up and sell it to someone without knowing. Or for your expiries, how are you storing it? Do you have a separate quarantine area to keep your expiries to ensure that nobody by mistake goes to go and pick it up, and go and sell to a customer? It's very important that these things are in place, even if it's just a small space with a proper label and say, okay, this is for expiry, just by the corner. So nobody goes there. It's a red area. Nobody goes there. It's very important. Then we also have space utilization, right? So space utilization there's a general rule for it, and that's what I'm displaying here. So there should be a 1 feet space between your wall and your shelf, or between two shelves. There should be 1 feet. 1 feet is about 30 cm, so you can calculate it. That's the general rule, the standard rule. Then between the floor and the shelf, there should be 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and your overall shelf should not be above 8 feet. So between two shelves, 4 inches or 10 centimeters off the floor, and then between the wall and the shelf itself, there should be 30 centimeters. This is important for a lot of things. First, for cleaning. When you are cleaning your shelf, removing dust, there has to be enough space for you to access the shelves, right? And even to identify the products, there has to be enough, space for that. Then also for arrangement and positioning, FIFO is first expiry, first out. It's not when someone receives a product or someone receives an order, you just go and you arrange the products. You don't look at the expiry dates to know, oh, this is going in January of 2025, but I have another product on the shelf that is going in December of 2024. I have to move those products to the front and then move this one going January to the back. So that's first expiry, first out. Also, if you have fast movers, fast sellers that you always reach out for, the paracetamols, the ones that in a day, a lot of people come to buy it, that has to be in front as well, right? So you don't have a situation where you are struggling and then you have to reach to the very back of the shelf, or you have to reach somewhere before you get the products out, because it's a product that you are constantly taking out of. We also have the products have to be on your eye level. So the fast mover should be eye level, where you can see the products and you can easily identify it. Your slow movers can be at the top of the shelf or at the bottom, but the fast movers need to be at your eye level. Then we also have labeling, right? Labeling is very important. Labeling your shelves is very, very important. You can label based on the number of considerations. You can label based on which is also always advised, based on therapeutic area. So multivitamin, cough and cold, you just properly label that area, and that all the drugs in that area is multivitamin. All the drugs in this area is anti-malaria. It's very important. There are other labeling techniques like alphabetical or even dosage and all that, but what is advised is therapeutic category. Yeah, and then finally, like I said, this proper shelving, proper storage starts with at the point of you receiving the products. So it's very important from that point, you go through a checklist or you go through a number of steps I'll be talking about next to ensure that your receiving process is efficient and you are doing the right thing. All right, so these are some receiving and storing guidelines. Some you might be doing, some you might not. So first, when you either go and buy a product or shelf life delivers a product to you, you have to inspect every package to check that is not defaced, to check that every seal is intact, to also check expiry dates, because that's what will inform. Oh, someone said they can't see my slide. I don't know. Can you see my slides? Okay. So first, you have to inspect the package, check expiry date, check that all the seals are intact. And then secondly, you have to ensure that you have space to store those products. So you create space, you look at what you have on the shelf, you create space. You should ensure that even if you are, stacking heavy products, maybe you have bottles, the bottle should be under, and then the lighter ones should be up, just to ensure that you are creating space for the products that you are bringing in. Then some products have manufacturer instructions on how to stack it, so you can look out for that and ensure that you are following that. Like I said, liquids are heavier. There are bottles, there are glass and all that, so they should be at the bottom. Lighter drugs can be at the top. Then lastly, FIFO, like I said before, first expiry, first out. Ensure that you are practicing FIFO. You need to move products that have been on your shelf that are expiring earlier than the ones that just came in. The ones that came in, you can move it to the back, and then depending on the expiry date, and then move the ones that are expiring earlier to the front. And then also lastly, if you are leaving any products in the carton, if you don't have shelf space, ensure that you are not storing it on the floor directly. We have a lot of humidity, from the floor, and with those sort of factors can affect the efficacy of whatever product you are storing on the floor. So if you want to store products in carton, you can make sure maybe you put a pallet or just something on the floor before storing the carton there. And then lastly, you have to separate damaged or expired products. Very, very important. So lastly, I'll be talking through inventory management best practice. So the first thing there is using FIFO. So FIFO doesn't also stop at when you are storing the products, when you receive it, when you are storing it on your shelf. When you're also dispensing to your customers, you have to use FIFO. So first, you start by storing the products closer to expiry in front. When you're dispensing, you or your attendant or whoever is dispensing the product should also be aware that they are not reaching out to the back of the shelf to pick products that are expiring in the next 2 years. They are picking from the front. They are picking the products that are expiring earlier to dispense to the customers, so to issue to the customers. Then next, you also need to set up a system to flag products that are nearing expiry. So you have to record it somewhere. There should be somewhere that you are recording, these products are close to expiry. I need to, have an eye on them, and maybe do promotions or do sales or even return. If maybe you have an agreement with a supplier that you can return those products if that stands. So just ensure that you have an eye on all the expiry dates, the ones that are close to expire, you do promotions, you just ensure that you're flagging them so they don't expire on you. Then we also have inventory tracking with technology and software. It's also a very good step for inventory management best practice. If you're able to, when you receive a product, if you're able to enter it into, an inventory management system, if it's accessible to you, is also very good. That helps with, a lot of things. It helps with, you having visibility, you seeing the products you have, you knowing the products you have, if possible, even entering the expiry date, tracking the expiry date. It helps a lot also with reducing pilfering or even eliminating pilfering. And then we have regular stock audits. So you are doing a stock count. There are some people that may not do a stock count in years, and there's you don't even know what's happening. You don't know if your products are getting missing. You don't know if anybody is picking it up. So it's very important that regular stock audits are done. So if you want to, stock audit just means you are counting all your stock against what you are meant to have. So you dedicate some days, to count the stock, maybe every 6 months, depending on the frequency that works for you. So you dedicate some days, you count your stock, and then it's helpful when you have like a technology system or a software to enter, because if it's manual, it's usually very stressful. But just ensure that you are counting, as well. That's a best practice for inventory management as well. So I think that's all from my end. If there are any questions, you can ask. But I hope you've been able to, learn a thing or two about proper, storage, proper shelving, and even proper handling of products. Thank you.